In this lesson, we'll examine Oracle's offerings at the application level. This includes middleware and programming languages. Let's begin by examining the concept of middleware and how it fits in today's enterprise IT architectures. To do this, let's first examine a little about an architecture that predates middleware as it exists today, the client-server architecture. The client-server configuration, although it's still used today, is an older, more basic architecture in which any given user executes an application by directly connecting to the source of data. So, as an example, say we're running a user desktop application that processes incoming sales order. We open our desktop application, enter our sales data, and that data is pushed to a database server where it is stored. The user is the client and the database is the server, thus the name ClientServer. This was used for many years, but eventually some problems began to emerge. First and foremost was the amount of work it took to deploy or update these custom applications on the client side. If you have a user base of 10 people for your application, it's not very serious. If you have a user base of 10,000, that's a different matter. The second event that occurred was the advent of the World Wide Web. Companies began moving their client applications to the web, making it easier to deploy and maintain them. When this change occurred, companies began to move away from the client-server model. The architecture that is more common today is the multi-tier or N-tier model. The N-tier model is so named because it consists of a number of separate tiers that each perform a specific function. So in the N-tier model, the user running a sales order application is doing so from a browser instead of a self-contained desktop app. The browser communicates directly with the web server, which presents the application as the user sees it. The user interacts with the web server, which passes data to the application server. This is generally the layer that hosts the heavy-duty code such as Java processing. It also communicates directly with the database server to store and retrieve data. With the N-tier model, each tier does a separate job. We could refer to the web tier as the presentation layer, the application tier as the logic layer, and the database tier as the data layer. Of course, the N-tier architecture can be structured in many different ways. The web and application tiers can be combined, or each tier may have clusters of servers working together instead of a single server. But the basic concept is one of separation of duties. In the N-tier architecture, we normally refer to the web and application tiers as middleware. However, middleware is a broad term and can mean many different things and different types of software at this tier, such as business intelligence, web caching, content management, and connection pooling. But on the whole, the idea of middleware is applications that contribute to the functioning of the logic and presentation layers. Oracle began offering middleware with a product called Oracle Application Server, or OAS. OAS operated as a standard application server and included an implementation of the open-source Apache web server. At one point, it was actually included with the Oracle database in version 9. Around version 10, it was split off into its own successful product. Later, when Oracle acquired VEA Systems and their flagship WebLogic application server, OAS and WebLogic were merged into the current product, Oracle WebLogic. Today, Oracle offers WebLogic bundled with a number of other supporting products in the form of Oracle Fusion Middleware. In addition, Oracle offers literally dozens of other types of middleware products that perform these types of operations that we've mentioned. Despite the importance of middleware in today's enterprise, all of the application servers in the world can't be useful without an actual application that has been coded by developers. This is where programming languages come in. Many different languages are used today to create applications, but one of the most popular is maintained by Oracle, the Java programming language. Java was developed at Sun Microsystems in the 1990s and was distributed and maintained by Sun until the company was acquired by Oracle. Since then, Oracle has served as the steward of the Java programming language. Java has been and continues to be a key component in Oracle's software strategy. Even before they acquired Sun, Oracle had integrated Java into many of their current product offerings. The Oracle database is capable of storing Java code within the database in the form of Java stored procedures. Oracle's primary installation program, the Oracle Universal Installer, has been a Java-based product for over a decade. Now that Oracle serves as the steward of Java, it's likely that integration will continue for years to come.